Listen closely. Most people don't respect the one who stays. They don't salute the saint who keeps forgiving, the diplomat who keeps explaining, or the lover who hands out infinite second chances in hopes that, one day, their worth will finally be noticed. What changes a room isn't another speech, it's your absence. It's the way everything rearranges around the quiet space you leave behind. When you walk without flinching, without theatrics, with a calm colder than steel, people finally stop confusing your patience for permission. Why does disappearing hit so hard? Because constant availability smells like desperation. Every time you stick around after a cut, you broadcast a message. My price is negotiable. They may never read Machiavelli, but they absolutely understand supply and demand. Abundance cheapens, scarcity crowns. The more you explain, the more you flood the market with your attention. The less you say, the rarer you become. Machiavelli saw this in courts full of flatterers and traitors. People judge with their eyes more than with their hands. When you linger, they see endurance. When you exit, they feel consequence. Feelings tattoo memory deeper than logic ever could. The shock of your departure burns a mark no paragraph ever will. Think of every toxic dynamic as a lab experiment. They poke, they watch your reaction, they tweak the dosage, they poke again. If the mouse keeps pressing the lever that delivers pain, the scientist concludes the mouse cannot learn, and the experiment escalates. Sharper jokes, longer silences, smaller jabs that turn into bigger ones. Then one day, the lever jams. You stop participating. No announcement, no monologue. Just stillness. The hush before a storm nobody forecast. Suddenly, the scientist becomes the subject. They reread old threads, refresh your profile, wonder if you met someone richer in self-respect. They taste a terrifying possibility. Maybe you looked in the mirror and decided that was company enough. Consider the two paths that follow. Disrespect. Path 1. You chase closure. You send essays about boundaries and feelings. They reply with an emoji, maybe a K. Your thoroughness rewards their laziness. Path 2. You delete the debate from your mind, not even from your phone. The chat sits there like a digital tombstone. Your silence becomes the sermon, and you never have to preach it twice. Walking away is not a tantrum, it's a treaty. You're drawing new borders around your sovereign state. Every step into distance redraws the map. Here lies my dignity. Trespassers will meet nothing but echo. People mistake softness for virtue. Machiavelli warns that the leader who is compassionate when he should be firm becomes cruel to those who rely on his protection. Cruelty to your own worth still counts as cruelty, just internal, invisible, and lethal. So what about forgiveness? Forgive, yes, for your peace, but do it quietly. Public forgiveness often looks like cheap credit, another loan they will default on. Private forgiveness is cash under the mattress, never lent, never lost. It pays for the ticket out and fuels the journey forward. They will call you stubborn. Let them. Stone outlasts sand. They will label you dramatic for stepping back. Understand this. Anyone benefiting from your confusion will campaign for your continued confusion. Clarity is a threat to them. They'll accuse you of ego, of immaturity, of playing games, anything to drag you back into a debate that keeps their control alive. Decline the invitation. Nothing starves manipulation like unanswered RSVPs. Silence isn't sulking, it's strategy. It gives you bandwidth to audit yourself. Ask, why did I tolerate what I did? What crack in my foundation let that weight settle? Answer honestly. Pour concrete into that fracture and notice how different your footing feels. When they return with the same tactics, the ground is no longer soft. Expect the breadcrumb barrage. A "Hey stranger," a shared meme from your past, a memory of your birthday. Every crumb is bait. Bite once, and the respect you've gained evaporates. Patience is power. Let the hunger happen on their side. Machiavelli wrote that fortune favors the bold. Don't confuse boldness with noise. The boldest move is often withdrawal, because withdrawal bets everything on self-belief. Your absence forces them into introspection or into madness. If introspection sprouts, growth is possible, but that harvest is theirs, not your responsibility. If madness blooms, they'll twist the story. You're heartless, you're selfish, you never cared. Notice how fast those who needed you rebrand you as the villain. That speed reveals the original motive. Control dressed as affection. Some connections survive a clean walk-away. The other person actually repairs, rises, returns different. Great open the gates, but with new codes. Others perform reform while repeating offenses. Remember, a promise costs them nothing. Believing it invoices your peace. Debt collectors don't fall for sweet talk. Neither should you. Meanwhile, the onlookers' friends, co-workers, relatives will weigh in using headlines, not histories. Let them. Reputation built on rumor is a sandcastle at high tide. You're building a fortress on land. Seasons will sort the storytellers. Inside your walls, practice sovereign rituals. Invest in skill, mind, body, spirit. Reallocate the energy once wasted decoding mixed signals into mastery. Months from now, when they scroll your feed, they'll find no subtweets, no cryptic laments. Strangely, that stings them more than any insult ever could. Proof that you were always capable of thriving without them. Here's the stoic wrinkle. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Walking away enacts the maxim. You forfeit arguments and embody standards. Value demonstrated is irrefutable. Value debated is discountable. Critics will whisper, "Isn't this just pride?" Answer it inwardly. Yes, healthy pride. Pride is knowing the market price of your soul and refusing clearance sales. False humility invites predators who can smell a discount. Keep walking. Those same critics who warn you against ego never apply that warning to themselves. They want your humility cheap because it makes their mediocrity comfortable. Observe it, but don't record it. Exposure is their burden, not yours. Once scarcity sets in, those who fed off your energy start searching for new supply. They might find it, but remember, borrowed power is unstable. They'll eventually disconnect and realize the truth. You were the source, not the consumer. You were the router, not the user. Machiavelli said a ruler must choose allies carefully. The wise prince avoids flatterers who pretend to admire, but secretly seek advantage. In today's language, beware of those who clap the loudest, yet contribute the least. Applause can hide extraction. Walk early, walk often, walk far. From arenas where the noise matters more than results. Exiting isn't exile. You're not banishing yourself to loneliness. You're escorting yourself to higher company. Sometimes that company is solitude itself, and solitude refines you. Diamonds form under pressure and obscurity, not applause. Work in the dark until your shine blinds doubt itself. When you return, if you ever do, it will be as a sovereign, not a refugee. When you re-enter the world, treaties are rewritten. Trade deals require parity, not pity. And when those accords are violated again, you'll walk faster next time. Practice breeds efficiency. Detachment becomes muscle memory. The first walk feels like tearing a ligament. The second feels like stretching. Eventually, you sprint from toxicity without thinking. Distance becomes reflex, not strategy. Strategy is for chess. Reflex is for survival. Don't confuse emotional distance with emotional death. You can love someone and still leave them. You can cherish memories while evacuating the minefield. Love is a feeling. Boundaries are choices. Feelings inform. Choices define. When they conflict, choose choices. Because choices carve the future feelings worth keeping. Here's a final Machiavellian gem. Men rise from one ambition to another, first to secure themselves, then to attack others. Reverse it. Secure yourself so thoroughly that disrespect becomes unprofitable. You won't need to attack anyone. Your life itself becomes a fortress so impenetrable that invaders quit before the first volley. To everyone still learning this art, take this lesson seriously. If today's message hits home, demonstrate it. Guard your focus. Withdraw from the noise. Refine your craft. Then share this message so others can escape the maze you've already walked through. Comment it, claim it, live it, Mach in power. Because the world doesn't bend to your speeches, it kneels to your standards. Standards enforced by silence echo louder than sermons. And when the time comes to finally walk, do it once, do it clean, and don't look back. Respect follows like an army arriving too late for victory. Let them march in vain. Your kingdom lies ahead, not behind. Walk far enough and you'll notice something paradoxical. The farther you move from those who diminished you, the closer you come to the person you were meant to be. At first, it's subtle, like dawn leaking over a dark valley. But it brightens with every step until you wonder why you ever begged for flashlights from people who never wanted you to see. Their approval was the cheapest currency on earth, and you mortgaged your peace for pennies. Now, you've repossessed it, with interest. Your silence isn't just a weapon anymore, it's a workshop. Inside it, every unanswered question melts down into raw material for mastery. Why did you accept crumbs? Where did your standards crack? Whose validation were you chasing? You smelt each of those questions into steel. You hammer that steel into a blade you'll wield whenever someone tries to bargain over your worth again. Machiavelli warned that unarmed prophets are doomed. Your boundaries are your new armament, even if they look like nothing more than polite refusals. As time passes, a strange dividend appears. Your energy returns. That bone-deep fatigue that clung to you like damp clothes begins to evaporate. You realize it was never about workload. It was about respect. Emotional parasites drain stamina faster than any schedule ever could. When they're gone, your lungs feel new. You breathe deeper. You reply slower. You sleep without rehearsing rebuttals. Your dreams stop sounding like courtrooms. You wake lighter, with what the ancients called euthymia, a tranquil spirit. Seneca's prized state of cheerful steadiness. And steadiness is rare in an age addicted to outrage. Everyone today is auditioning anger, hawking hot takes like street vendors. The rage merchants quietly envy anyone who refuses to buy. Your calm refusal bruises egos across the marketplace. They'll flip the script, calling you apathetic, disengaged, emotionally unavailable. Let them. Detachment isn't death, it's disciplined life. You've chosen deliberate engagement over compulsory reaction. The bandwidth once wasted decoding mixed signals now funds skill acquisition. Learning becomes addictive because progress obeys you, unlike people. Machiavelli advised rulers to study war during peace, because peace never lasts. In modern terms, that means prepare while others are distracted. Study markets, languages, investments, martial arts, psychology. anything that sharpens both mind and muscle. Predictably, those who lost access to you will notice the glow-up late. They circle back, hiding curiosity under casual greetings. Heard you started a business? Saw you've been traveling. Looking good lately. Don't take the bait. They're not congratulating you. They're checking for entry points. They're scavenging proof that you're still reachable. Offer none. Excellence is your new wall. Let them admire the stonework from outside the gate. But remember, achievement also attracts opportunists dressed in armor, polished to look like loyalty. These new arrivals haven't hurt you yet. They smell fresh value. They'll present themselves as allies. Test them quietly. Give a sliver of trust, not the whole loaf. Machiavelli divided allies into two kinds: dependable and dangerous. Mercenaries fight only while paid, and often switch sides. Today's mercenaries wear smiles instead of swords. If someone's praise outpaces their contribution, you've met one. A dependable ally invests first, compliments later. Courtesy costs nothing, but sovereignty demands vigilance. Sovereignty also demands ritual. Every morning, rise like a monarch surveying their realm. Audit your emotions. Any resentment you find is an unpaid invoice. Collect it through self-care, not confrontation. Train the body. Resistance reminds the mind that strength is manufactured under load. Review your finances, the bloodstream of independence. Study strategy. History's diaries of conflict are manuals for modern maneuvering. At night, record victories no matter how small. Those who chronicle their days rule their decades. Meanwhile, the whispers begin. The ones you left behind start piecing together theories to explain your silence. Someone says you've become cold. Another insists you're heartbroken. They'll write stories because your quiet unnerves them. Let them. A lion doesn't issue press releases. Truth is software, installed only on authorized devices. Everyone else sees a scrambled feed. What matters is that you no longer subscribe to their version of you. Your identity has gone private. You publish it internally now, for an audience of one. But solitude can tip into arrogance if left unchecked. Even Marcus Aurelius had to remind himself, enter their minds, and you'll find the same weakness. Even manipulators are scared children in elaborate disguises. Recognizing that doesn't excuse them. It simply protects you from becoming cruel in return. Forgive, but never reopen the gates. Compassion is charity. Boundaries are taxes. And re-entry attempts always follow the same playbook. Phase 1. Nostalgia bombs. Old jokes. Favorite songs. A photo from your trip together. If that fails, Phase 2. Guilt grenades. Real friends don't vanish. I guess you're too good now. If that fails, Phase 3. Rage rockets. So you think you're better than us? Every stage targets your empathy, hoping it'll override your logic. Block each attempt with 3 shields: perception, purpose, and premeditation. Perception keeps you aware of manipulation. Purpose reminds you why you left. Premeditation prepares you for their tactics before they deploy them. Eventually, someone will call you ruthless. Smile, accept the title. Ruthless means without compassion for what destroys you. And in that sense, ruthlessness is simply self-respect wearing armor. Machiavelli praised rulers who amputated liabilities before infection spread. Delay invites decay. Delayed surgery costs kingdoms. You cut early, so your empire could survive. That isn't cruelty, that's triage. Time moves. Your circle shrinks, but densifies. Fewer voices, deeper dialogue. The echo of chaos is replaced by the hum of purpose. Colleagues start expanding your ideas instead of competing with them. Friends critique blind spots constructively instead of exploiting them. Mentors appear, uninvited but timely, because you now occupy the arenas they inhabit, arenas of action, not complaint. One day, walking past a window, you catch your reflection and pause. Shoulders back, gaze steady. You don't remember when that posture arrived, but it did. One small act of self-respect at a time. Confidence creeps, not explodes. You've stopped asking for reassurance, and that's how it grew. Predators sense it too. They bypass you now, the way wolves ignore the lion. You've become unappetizing to manipulators, magnetic to catalysts. The strongest magnetism, however, is quiet competence, what Machiavelli called virtù, effectiveness fused with resilience. Virtue, in his eyes, was power that didn't need ceremony. Fortune, he said, is like a river. Build dikes during calm weather, and floods become opportunities. Your dikes are habits, daily training, reading, investments, cold showers, evening gratitude, seasonal reflection. Routine is your destiny in uniform. You wear it without realizing, and as destiny shifts, the temptation grows to broadcast your comeback, to show them what they lost. Don't. Broadcasting burns fuel and attracts sabotage. Let results leak organically. Success whispered carries more mystery, and mystery commands respect. Stoics and tacticians agree. The most strategic move is often no move. A silent ascent unnerves observers. They have no target to hit. But don't mistake silence for secrecy. You still influence. You influence by existing as proof. Each day of calm competence plants uncomfortable questions in others. If they can grow after leaving, what am I tolerating? You become a mirror they can't avoid. You don't lecture anymore, you radiate. And radiation, silent but constant, changes landscapes. Some curse your glow, others steer by it. Both are evidence that your influence has evolved from performance to presence. Freedom breeds new opportunities, partnerships, collaborations, even love. But remember your new economy. The currency is respect, not attention. Every offer that demands you shrink your standards carries a hidden tax. Decline gracefully. Opportunity that asks for self-betrayal is a disguised cage. Of course, loneliness will visit. It always does. On quiet nights it whispers, was the fortress worth the silence? Answer it with perspective. Solitude is a sanctuary for your highest potential. False company is rented noise. When real allies knock, they come without price tags. Until then, guard the peace like inheritance. It's not isolation, it's incubation. There will be tremors, birthdays, sick nights, nostalgia triggers that make your resolve wobble. When the urge to reach out rises, ask one question. Will this restore or relive? Most times, the answer is relive. And healing never hides in history's basement. When nostalgia romanticizes the past, fear the cost of regression more than the comfort of familiarity. Walk on. The bridge you are building is made of boundaries, not memories. Eventually, you cross a frontier. On this side, forgiveness exists without reunion. From this height, resentment feels too heavy to carry. You drop it for the sake of traction. Travel light, progress faster. Memory has already done justice. It warns you in every new negotiation. Bitterness can retire now. The retreat has become an advance. Projects bloom. Finances climb. New alliances form. A mentor might notice your calm intensity and name it what it is: balance. That's the equilibrium Machiavelli admired most, alert yet unflappable. The world mistakes it for luck, but luck is location. You simply relocated from chaos to competence, and fortune follows competence like gravity follows mass. It's not magic, it's mathematics. Then, inevitably, the message arrives. The one from the original offender. "Can we talk? I miss how you understood me." Your heartbeat stays steady, because you understand something deeper now. They don't miss you. They miss the version of you that overextended, explained, forgave too easily. They miss the supplier, not the survivor. Replying would reopen a negotiation long settled. The notification fades, and you feel nothing. Closure, at last, is silence maintained. Some stories end not with punctuation, but with peace. Seasons advance. Edges of your past blur. But your discipline remains diamond sharp. You wake before dawn, not to prove a point, but because peace now feels more urgent than sleep. Dawn becomes your ally, whispering secrets cities can't hear. Whoever masters mornings masters years. By the time the world begins its daily quarrel, your mind is already marching equipped, composed, impenetrable. As the world stirs to chaos, you move with quiet precision. Every dawn now feels like a ceremony. Your own private council of strategy and stillness. You've learned that peace isn't found in detachment from effort, but in disciplined effort, without emotional noise. You review your finances, train your body, read something ancient, and write something true. Each small act lays another brick in the fortress of self-command. When life tests that fortress, and it will you bend, but you don't break. A deal falls through, a friend betrays you, a loved one gets sick. The storm hits, but the foundation holds. Where the old you once scrambled for reassurance, the new you consults principles instead of people. Pain still visits, but now it educates instead of destroys. Detachment has evolved into freedom, not absence of feeling, but control of focus. Failure no longer terrifies you. It instructs. Every misstep becomes new data. Critics still talk, but their words bounce off a surface polished by purpose. You no longer need validation, you need progress. From this calm vantage point, forgiveness matures. You look back and see your past antagonists not as monsters, but as mirrors. Confused travelers lost in their own fog. You grant them mercy by forgetting them, not because they earned it, but because dragging their shadows would only dim your horizon. As you rise, leadership calls, and this time, you accept. You mentor those still trapped in the maze, teaching them what true sovereignty means, enforcing inner treaties. Rules you sign with yourself and keep in silence. No audience, no applause, just discipline. Some will listen, and the few who do will surpass you. That will be your victory influence measured not in followers, but in freed minds. Completion doesn't feel like triumph. It feels like another gate opening. Beyond it lies more territory mastery, meaning evolution. You lace your boots tighter. The horizon no longer intimidates. It invites. The distance you once feared to create has become the bridge to everything you now cherish. Carry this understanding forward. When worth is questioned, don't explain. Withdraw oxygen. When loyalty wavers, don't plead. Close the gate. The world will always try to negotiate your standards down to its comfort level. Don't attend the meeting. And when they finally notice your absence, they'll also notice their own poverty of character. By then, you'll be far ahead, not bitter, just busy, building alliances with those who understood from the beginning what Machiavelli implied and what life has now confirmed. Respect is born not from your presence, but from the power of your departure. The higher you rise, the quieter it gets. That silence you once feared now feels sacred. Proof that you've left the noise behind. You no longer chase approval or cling to validation. You choose who enters your space, and that choice alone is freedom. The old you thought loyalty meant staying, even when it hurt. You mistook endurance for love, self-sacrifice for strength. But now you know. Staying where you're disrespected isn't noble, it's self-betrayal. You don't owe anyone the version of you that tolerated disrespect just to keep the peace. That version built the new one, the version that refuses discounts. Some nights, the old ache returns. A whisper that maybe you were too cold, too final. But instead of fighting it, you breathe through it. Pain isn't prophecy anymore, it's information. It tells you where you once leaked energy, where boundaries still need steel. You listen, learn, and move forward. Discipline has replaced chaos. You wake early, study, train, reflect. You protect your solitude like wealth. Each routine adds a layer to your fortress, and in time, people sense it a gravity in your presence. You don't speak of growth, you embody it. Real power doesn't shout, it stabilizes. Life will still test you a loss, a failure, a betrayal. But now, you respond, not react. You bend, but never break. The chaos that once consumed you becomes fuel for focus. Every blow just forges the armor tighter. Detachment has turned from defense into creation. You start to experiment again. You build, you lead, you risk not to prove something, but because you finally can. Then comes the inevitable message. Can we talk? I miss you. You read it once, then let it fade. They don't miss you. They miss the comfort of your tolerance. And tolerance is no longer for sale. Some stories deserve no sequel, only silence. Your circle now is smaller, sharper, filled with minds that challenge, not drain. Conversations replace complaints. Peace replaces noise. You've traded validation for velocity, and on quiet nights you realize, this stillness isn't emptiness, it's power resting. This was never about revenge. It was about returning to yourself. Every time you walked away, you reclaimed a piece of your worth. Every silence you held became a statement. I am not negotiable. Now you move with calm certainty. You don't beg for respect. You command it through absence, through standards that don't need defending. You've become what Machiavelli envisioned, the ruler of your own realm. So keep walking, not to escape, but to evolve. Because in the end, they only respect you when you walk away, and you, finally, have learned to keep walking, not for them, but for you.